Yeah. They talked me into it.
All right, well, I get this stacked up. You're live right now. Hi, everybody.
Oh, we're live now?
We are live right
Okay.
now.
Awesome.
How's the sound, everyone?
Share it, find it.
Yeah, go find it, share it.
It's on your page.
Yep, the beat
It's
charmer.
not showing up.
It's
Oh,
not
there
showing
it is.
up. There
Okay,
it
you
is.
tag me.
Welcome, everyone. Just coming into the room. Welcome, welcome. I would normally do some kind of introduction, but I tell you what, that I liked what you said. Independent researcher.
Yeah.
That's a great way to describe you.
Keep it safe. Yeah.
Yeah, and interesting enough, like I watched one of your videos a couple years ago, and that's how I got into your page.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you were talking about the government, basically. And you were talking about Oahu, actually. You were talking about all the people, the buildings. You were talking about all this interesting stuff about basically what's happened since I don't know. Can we just call it the takeover?
Sure. Yeah.
I find that really interesting. You know that it appears as though we've stood by idly watching this all happen.
Right. Yeah.
But then I watched that video and I kicked it up a notch. You kind of inspired more action.
I really appreciate that.
And
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even say that there's. I mean, it begins right here in the cyber world where we can reach a ton of people, right?
Luckily, yeah. Hopefully, and at this point in time, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I like you're a b-boy too. That's pretty cool.
I did dance. I had not a lot, but I had some notoriety for that.
Yeah.
That's what people usually knew me from.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of in the public eye in Oahu just for that. But and then I wanted to branch out into art, but then I knew some people and I saw some things and I decided to say something.
Okay.
Yeah. And I hope I shared the video, so I hope it's on my page. It's all new. This is all new to me too. So
yeah, it's fun. That's kind of like at the beginning of the show. That's what we do. We just share it a couple of places, and if you guys can share it too. I mean, this is going to be a really interesting podcast. You're going to hear some first, that's for sure. He just kind of let me know of one thing that he was going to share, and that's something that this island is an epicenter. A lot of the people that live here know that. But what is it an epicenter for is the question, because one thing, spirituality, that's obvious. But the other crap too, man.
Okay, well, we could start with that.
Yeah?
Since you mentioned it, I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
I actually brought an example, a visual example.
A visual example?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is, I got this from the top of Mauna Kea today.
Okay.
And, it has significance to them because they know what it means, and I'm going to explain to everybody else what it means.
Okay.
And so this, it says Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory. I don't know how well people can see. I can't see what's going on in the podcast. If people can see that or not. I don't know if they can.
Sorry, I'm right in the middle of this. Dang it. Yeah. Yeah, they can see it. If you move it over to your right just a tad.
Am I right?
Yeah, right there. Now it's perfect.
Okay, so what you should be looking at is that it's like it looks almost like a ball of yarn with grid points, or like a geometric shape, right? So actually, this is not too dissimilar to what was once termed ley lines on the Earth. If people know what that is, it's electromagnetic field lines that run all over the Earth, almost like it would look like a soccer ball.
Okay.
Where they're in little pentagons and little geometric shapes, hexagrams and stuff like that are forming this sphere. So it's invisible to our spectrum. We can't see it, but it's just like a Wi-Fi signal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. It's a signal, or like a radio signal, or like what is artificial. What we use with radios and Wi-Fi antennas artificially is what the Earth does naturally. So the Earth has these electromagnetic, I guess you could call them like telephone lines that are going under the surface of the Earth. And if you look at each little point, there's a line where they all kind of intersect like a web. There's a little point, right? So those are like entrance points and exit points of this energy node. So especially people like the scientists and the ancient esoteric societies, they knew that these little points were giving off electromagnetic. You can measure it. They were giving off, but they knew from ancient antiquity that these were giving off basically free electricity,
free energy.
Yeah, basically, and you could harness that by many ways. A lot of that's not known to the public, but particularly when you put a crystal on it, you get this piezoelectric effect, which is what they call when crystals get a certain charge, it makes a light or electricity.
Look up Rudolf Steiner, everyone.
Yes. So what you can do is you can set stones in the ground that act like conducting crystals or an antenna, like how we make radio towers, and you can actually transmit electricity, energy, or signals. And so a lot of the temples and churches, Stonehenge, a lot of ancient monuments are built on those sites to harness those energy points specifically for what they want it to be. So they already know where all the grids are, where all the energy points are. They've got it mapped out. And the special thing about the Big Island is that Big Island is almost right directly over one.
It is.
Yes, so that is also why there is an island here in the first place. That's one of the byproducts of it. So a lot of times you could get, energy, so it could bring up the lava, it could form an island, flowing water, running water, volcanoes, hot springs. These energy points do a lot. And what it's doing out here is it's creating these beautiful island chain that's getting birthed out of the ocean. So there's a strong electromagnetic field and a presence that's here. So what this field can do to people is it'll energize you. So if you're more spiritually inclined, you will feel that. You'll be sensitive to it, right? If you are more negatively inclined or a little bit more, it'll basically, it's like putting a battery on your back. Whatever you are, it's going to push you more.
Supercharge you.
Yeah, supercharge you. So yeah, there's been a lot going on with the Earth's magnetic field in general, and that's why you see these lava flow that you guys recently had, and a lot of things are going on in the Big Island. It's also why I'm here. It's
interesting that you start out there. It's interesting that you bring up the grid. I've been, I don't talk about it too often. Obviously, you're aware of some of the reactions that you get.
Yeah.
But there's pyramids here.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And that was one of the things. I went to a meeting. I should explain, I guess. I came into town, but I went to a meeting. I was lucky enough to get in. One of the people there was Dr. Michael Sala. If you follow his work, he's a book author. He writes books on many subjects. A lot of it has to do with the military, the Navy, and kind of a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. So I was in a good position to hear some good information yesterday that's coming from the military-industrial complex on what they are doing and what they're planning to do, and that was what that was for. So they're gonna make their own video, and I'm sure there'll be a lot. But I'm glad I get to do this podcast to share. Like I was telling you, I can share what they said yesterday. So the pyramid thing, what they touched on was, and this is getting real to people that are mainstream. It's getting real out there, but this information is actually going to get released publicly soon. It is released now, but it will be mainstream soon. So the what we call Atlantis, and there's another continent called Lemuria and Mu.
Lemuria.
Yeah, Lemuria. What they are saying that Mu is Lumeria. So it's how do you say it?
Lumeria.
Lumeria. So Mu and Lumeria are the one and the same. But they said that, well, and a lot of my independent research, another reason I came from, I'm going to make a video later, but it's having to do with that relationship of, in the ancient past, of this land being inhabited by what we would call people Atlanteans or even Lemurians. So yeah, there's a lot of structures under the water that the Navy is interested in. I hope this podcast doesn't get shut off. But there's a lot of
You got my hair standing up.
There's a lot of things. They're gonna disclose this anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We're still going, and people share the shit out of this.
Yeah. There's a lot of locations where you can actually see evidence of these Atlantean cultures and pyramids. Unfortunately, right now, they are on national park land or government land, military land. So you don't, the public doesn't have access to these areas.
Right.
And the places that the public does have access to, such as a national park, if you go to the national park, you'll notice that there's always an off-limits area.
Yeah.
So all of these things are what is in the off-limits areas. So the places that the tourists are not allowed to go, the places that if you walk over the rope or go over the fence.
I go anyway.
Right. So that if you get too close to a lot of these areas, then you will be stopped. But some ancient Hawaiians know where it is.
Yes.
Know where these locations are. But there's a lot on the Big Island. There's a lot. There's a lot on every island, but especially this island.
The first area that I found was a complete and total accident.
Yeah.
Some guy was out here filming a documentary on me, and he took me out to the 6 year ago lava spot, and we kind of ventured around the ropes, and we just kept walking, and we found a good spot. He set up, his camera equipment, and a bee. We're in the middle of lava, and a bee landed on my arm.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm like, where could this bee come from?
Right. No coincidences.
Yeah. No coincidences. Right.
Everything is science. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look around, and I see nothing but lava for miles.
Right.
But this little green patch, this little tiny green patch. And I'm like, oh, it had to come from there. So we finished filming the documentary that day, and I had an intern with me at the time studying bees. And I said, we got to go find this beehive.
Of course. Yeah.
So we hiked out for miles, and there we got to that little patch of green, and sure enough, the bees were all there.
Yeah.
And like you said though, that that's where you find the good stuff.
Correct.
Go beyond those borders.
Yeah. Hopefully soon, a lot of these areas will be open to the public. But right now there's a lot going on. But I encourage anybody that's watching this not to get arrested or not to get stopped by a park ranger, because even I've been stopped by park rangers and I know why they're stopping me. So even when I get confronted, I don't play the tough guy.
Don't play the tough guy.
Yeah. They have more resources. They're more powerful.
Yes.
Just walk away for another day.
Yes. And always use, like I'm involved in, let's just call it sovereignty. And one of the early things, one of the major things that we talk about is it's express yourself with love. Always. And that these people have been given power and authority. They think, they feel, they understand that they have power over you.
Right. Yeah.
So if you try to challenge that, they will use that power that was given, and they'll take you down.
Right. Yeah.
They'll fuck you up.
Yes.
They don't care.
Correct. Yeah.
It's what they were trained. They were programmed to be this way. And in order to stop being that way, they have to tell themselves, wait a minute, what I've been doing all my life, what I'm getting paid to do, what my livelihood is wrong. And they're not going to do that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I want to wrap this up with talking about that, because I want to bring it back to that point about what you said. So remind me of that.
Yeah.
How long do you usually do your podcast?
We got plenty of time.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
we got an hour.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
we could go even beyond that.
Okay.
I have a feeling this might happen.
I gotta catch a flight tonight, but
okay.
no, we got time. We got
Okay.
time. I got the last flight out, so.
All right.
Going back to the meeting,
Yeah.
I just want to touch on what they said real fast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of just jump around, but I'm gonna try and keep it coherent.
Yeah.
Real quick, guys. Later on, I guess we could put info to. I have a website, I have a YouTube, and I have a. Well, you guys can follow me on social media, but I wanted to put it out there that my YouTube channel just recently, I got like while I was here.
Yeah.
It just got I don't know how much it is now, but it went over 1 million.
Oh, really?
I finally got it. It took me a long time, but I finally got 1 million views finally on my channel. So I'm happy for that, guys. So even though some of my topics are fringe and there's sometimes censored and suppressed, like getting to 1 million views is for me is like I'm glad I'm putting it out there. You know, like I'm putting.
I just recently experienced that.
Yeah, I'm glad that
we had Jordan Maxwell on, and then boom, tank. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so his website, we're gonna put all that stuff in the comments and links and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this meeting, Dr. Michael Sala, Joan Ocean was another lady. I believe she's been living here for a while now. She's also a book author. She does work with dolphins. So it was an eclectic mix. I tried to pick up as much as I could. The main topics were about the sun and the cycles of the sun and how that regards the future of things with the military and the future of information and disclosure when it comes to all of these topics. One fun thing, going back to the Atlantis and Lemurian before I skip, is that you can. I went today. It was a cave in Hilo that I forgot the name of it, but I went down into it and I had a flashlight and I went as far as I could. And there's a lot of places like that in Hawaii. This one was open to the public, so of course it's just you go into it and that's it. But there are a lot of places that go very far, lava tubes that go under the island, and that are ancient pathways and secret cave systems. But that is how a lot of these cultures previously in Hawaii were getting around the islands and coming out in places where people in a Hawaiian myth they'd say we'd see the lizard people or the menehunes,
right,
or so on and so forth. And
hope you're watching.
That's how
Anunnaki.
Right. Yes, that's how these people were coming in and out and not being seen, is because they were going back into the caves, and then they would come out and then they'd go back to the cave system, which is what they still do. But a lot of these cave systems are around. So the one I went to today, what you'll see most of the time, especially for the public or any tourist, is that you'll go and you'll notice that you can walk through it, and you'll notice that it's height, perfect head height. It's almost like it's built for people to walk through it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it comes to an abrupt stop. That's because they sealed it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, what the government and the military will do is they'll seal these entrances so that people don't find them, and they can then give you a few little tours. But most national park cave systems have that, especially the ones in Hawaii. But in Maui, there is a place in the valley, I forget the name of it, it starts with an I, but if you go to Maui, in that valley, there was I guess there was a battle. There's many ancient battles in Hawaii, and there was an Atlantean battle there, where they did just that. They were fighting with the Lemurians, supposedly, and they chased them into their cave system, and then they sealed it. The Atlanteans sealed it over. So if you go to that valley in Maui, it's going to be out there pretty soon. I think a few people have written about it, but if you're into the Hawaiian local myth, that's an ancient, that jives with the Hawaiian culture, but also it's also a legitimate thing that the military knows about, that was talked about yesterday. Was the Atlanteans and Lemurians in Maui. They were all throughout Polynesia.
Yeah.
Especially the Moai, but I don't want to go too crazy into that. But so the next topic that they wanted to express was not only that we're going into this moment where the next few years that they're going to start disclosing a lot more you see now in Hollywood, what's the guy? Aquaman made the movie. He's from Atlantis.
Right.
Okay, that's why they put that out at this time. They want to make sure that they're going in accordance with the media, with the news. It's like everything.
Yeah.
They're going to put the information out through the conspiracy channel. They're going to put the information out through mainstream media. So that's where you see Aquaman, and they put the information out through the mainstream news, and you'll hear things about.
It's interesting they chose him as the role, as the lead character too.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah. But pay attention to what they're showing you guys. Pay attention to what these characters look like. How they look, how big they are, and what color their hair are. That's very important details. But that information is out there for some. You guys can look into it. Type in Mu, type in Lemuria, type in Atlantis. Look into I'm recommending Dr. Sala's work. When I listen to people though, take it with discernment, because not everybody has the big picture, and a lot of times, especially when it's a controlled environment where it's being purposefully disseminated and it's being purposefully told, you're not going to get the total picture. So there's a lot of missing information, and there's still a lot of confusion there. But
there is a lot of confusion, and then even like me, I've only been really looking into this for a couple of years now. So and that's one thing that I've learned right away is, where am I getting the information from? Not to take everything that I hear for 100%.
Yeah.
And then when you find people that are actually genuinely caring about putting truth out there, then you could, and then test them too.
Yeah.
Not everything that everybody says is going to be full, complete, 100% accurate.
Yeah.
So do some follow-up checking too.
Everybody, the way I see it now, because I do my best to talk to as many people as I can and research as much as I can, and put that with what I know. When you do that, try to just, I don't know how to put it, just use discernment and think with the heart. Use your heart.
Always with the heart.
Protect your heart. Try not to look at things in a fearful way.
Yes.
Don't let things scare you away.
Yeah.
Don't let things, completely just wash you over either, because it's everybody has their own piece of the puzzle, and the whole story is not out yet.
It's not.
It's not.
We're making it.
That's right. That's true. So I want to definitely come back to that, because what they're putting out, and credit to all of them. That's why I say take it with, discernment, is because that is one avenue.
Yeah.
I know it sounds cliche, but people can make the best forecasts, best simulations, the best mathematical science to predict what's going to happen. And even you could use time travel and so on and so forth. But it's true what they say: the future is not set in stone. It's just not. It is not. It's not set. It might be cliche, but it's not. We are making it. As hard as some people do try to set it in stone, literally, we still have choices. Although we're still here. We're still here, so we can still choose things.
People are bombarding with questions right now. I don't want to get to
we can go into a question thing at the end. How's about that?
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, please keep. I've been storing them up here. I want to let him go off for a little bit.
Yeah, so I just want to get through the briefing I had, or that I was privileged to be a part of this little talk. But they talked about what's going to be happening as far as space and the sun. The cycle of the sun was a very important topic. So the sun goes through cycles. The solar system goes through cycles, and it's just like a wheel or a clock or a zodiac wheel. It's circular, right? It's a cycle. It's a perfect circle. So certain things happen at certain times, and they predict the pattern of the sun by observing it all these years. NASA and right here in Hawaii, the Keck Observatory, they're constantly, and many satellites are pointed at the sun. They're constantly watching the sun because they want to get a good guess of when this cycle happens and what it is. It's a magnetic cycle where the sun alternates its field magnetics. So what happens is you'll see a lot of sunspots happening all over the sun, and then you won't see any. And then what they're saying is, according to their best military science, or what they want us to know anyways, is that the sun dims, and that goes with a lot of ancient texts and religions of 3 days of darkness or whatever. But there's a point where the sun goes dim, and then it's because it's kind of shuts off. It switches its field magnetics, and then it kind of turns back on like a light bulb. But it gets real bright, and then it finds its balance again with new field magnetics. Okay. So this is this sun cycle that they've known about for a long time, and they have not been releasing the information, but now they are in small groups. So what they're thinking when this will happen, and what it is, they're terming it a mini nova. So you've heard of solar flares, right?
Yeah.
So this would be a solar flare in 360-degree direction.
Okay.
So the sun itself would, they say mini supernova, I guess is the best way to put it. Just like, when you turn a light bulb on real bright and it goes,
yeah.
Right? Okay. So it's going to expand with the same radiation as a solar flare would. And so what they know, there's this event called the Carrington event where America was hit by a solar flare. I believe it was in the 1800s. But the only thing that was technology at that time was just like phones, no cell phones, but phones and power lines. And when that solar flare hit, it shut off the telegraph that they had, and it shut down the electric grid. It caused a blackout. Because what happens with solar wind or solar interference is it affects magnetic field, and both of those things affect all the electronics. That's how electronics work, is with electricity and magnetic fields. So when you expose a electronic device to a huge amount of radiation or an electromagnetic field, it'll turn off or explode or melt or whatever. So they've been trying to predict when they think this is going to happen, and they think it's going to happen. They know that when there's the period, there's no sunspots.
Okay. And
they do this by observing other stars too that have gone through this process, because apparently this is a normal thing that all stars do. So you see them twinkle and stuff like that. Yeah. So these stars, when they do this system of shutting off and turning back on, is that they'll have no sunspots at all. It'll kind of get like a quiet, it'll be like a very still moment. And they said that period lasts for about 11 years. So when you see that the sun has no spots on it, from that moment there will be an 11-year period of when, at the end of that time, that's when the sun will flash. So
what are they saying the possibilities of that could be, the effects of that flash?
The 100% is the thing that they're saying is that it's going to happen, that's a natural thing that happens, which it very well could be a natural thing. And supposedly we're overdue for it, and supposedly this has what happened many times before. The Greeks knew about it, and that once again goes back to Atlantis and how they were destroyed. So they count it every like a couple thousand years. Yeah, is when this happens. And then sometimes it's bigger than others, but it's almost like a rhythm, like a heartbeat kind of a thing,
Hold on, you keep talking.
Yeah. So they're saying now that with their telescopes and their observing that the sun has now gone into that time. So I'm not saying that we only have, what is today? The 2019?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, what's 11 years from now is what, 2021? No, 31? Okay? I'm not saying that in 2031 this is going to happen, but
But this is just something that they discussed.
This is something that they said that they believe is what is our future.
Now, can I just tell you that before you started talking about that, one of the questions was, did you hear about Bill Gates talking about blocking the sun?
Okay, so bingo. So there's this thing called chemtrails, and it's been a conspiracy for a long time. What that involves is weather manipulation with planes dropping chemical trails out the back to create artificial clouds, cloud machines. NASA has big rocket engines. They make condensation, create clouds. Airplanes come and drop chemicals into them. They use satellite dishes, create electromagnetic fields. They can affect the weather. So the big conspiracy has been that this has been something that was engineered to harm us.
Yeah.
Which it very well could be. It could be a three-pronged attack.
Okay.
Because I mean, if they really believed that this solar event would have such an effect, I mean, why would they care anyways, right? If it hurts us. But what it could be, and this is just a theory of mine,
wow,
is that they could be trying to create a blanket to buffer it.
A buffer.
And that's just my theory. I've never heard that. No one's ever told me that. That wasn't disclosed to me. No one's ever said. That's just me. That's just my opinion. Is that it would make sense to me that it's just me talking. Is that the reason why we could be getting chemtrailed, especially in the first world countries, is because they're trying to protect the power grids in those countries. But then again, I know people are getting sick from chemtrails.
Yeah.
I know people that are have reported I think it's called Magellan's disease or nanites, lung problems, which, you know,
Man,
if you were going to create a blanket, I don't see how there wouldn't be side effects to the health on the population of the people. They might be thinking that there's a project done by Bill Gates and Harvard, and they have termed it Solar Shield.
Solar Shield, yeah.
And this could be why they're telling us why there's global warming and they have to do it. It could actually be because of the sun. Because it's solar shield. They're shielding themselves from the sun. It's a solar shield. So they could be very well anticipating a solar event, and this could be their preparation. And if they figure that they hurt a few people, I guess it's the price they're willing to pay. But I don't think that. And once again, this is just my opinion. I don't even think that would help.
I don't think anything can.
I don't think so either.
Mother Nature's going to do whatever she's going to do.
Right.
And you either receive her with love or you don't. And if you don't, then that's what you need to look out for, really. I mean, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. But so
no, I agree. If there's something that is a natural part of like the earth, like, you know, the seasons, you know what I mean? Why would you can't really do anything about it, right?
Right.
Except to appreciate it or adapt to it or enjoy it or whatever, you know, make the best of it, right?
Yeah.
Winter comes, the spring will come, right?
Yeah.
So sun is the same way. I mean, the sun's going to go through a period and spring will come again. But they know about this supposedly, so it's coming to the public now in little events like this. And the other thing about that was that what they think a side effect was is that when the solar energy ejects off of the sun, what it does is it kind of turns, it pushes like if you blew the planet,
Okay.
right? Like with a strong solar wind, it will kind of like push it off its
axis.
Yeah, off its axis, so that the pole.
So it's that strong. It'll shift our pole.
They think it could.
Holy shit.
Well, no, I don't want to. I don't want people to be.
Fear.
You know, it's some deep stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that's going to happen in 11 years. But here's the thing. These are things to look out for. They think that one of the first things will happen, and this is for the people in Hawaii, is that there will be a tsunami in the Pacific. So when a tsunami happens, that is a precursor to the sun going through this event. Because what's going to happen is a lot of meteors are going to hit the ocean, and just the energy of the sun itself is going to create pockets under the ocean to kind of rupture. It's going to create a tsunami in the Pacific.
Wow.
So That's a lot of the reason why in Hawaii they've been telling everybody about global warming and tsunamis and the king tides, because I think they want to prepare people for if such an event would have happened, will happen. So if Hawaii, people, whoever's in Hawaii, if you guys have a big tsunami that affects all the islands, if you survive that, get to the high ground. Get to the high ground, because it ain't over, apparently. It's not going to end after that. That's just a precursor to the sun. Also, another thing that the electromagnetic field and the solar energy does to the planet Earth is it solar charges the volcanoes. So every single volcano on Earth will start to erupt. So when you read ancient texts and ancient religions, it was laid out for us. They said there will be signs in the stars, there will be signs in the heavens, there will be signs in the earth. There'll be very clear signs. So I don't want people to think this is just you're gonna be in your car driving to work one day and the sun's gonna flip over or whatever. The world's gonna end. It's not gonna be like that. It's a process. So, and I'm not even saying any of that will happen anyways, because the fact that we know about it, I'm gonna get into that in the very end. About all the things that we can do about that. Okay, safe zones. Where do they say if this event happens? Where are they telling you that you're gonna be safe? They're telling you that you're gonna be safe. They believe if you live in mainland United States, the Ozarks are going to be a safe place, which is where they are actually building a second White House right now. That they've been doing that for a long time. They've got a lot of vast underground system in Ozarks. So I believe that they do believe that, because there's a lot of tunnel systems in the Ozarks.
There's a ton.
They
of
wouldn't have done
systems.
that. Yeah, apparently the middle of the United States is a very thick, hard geography. It's like a granite or something. It won't move too much. So they were relying on the middle of the United States to take the least of the brunt of things. And Colorado, they said, would be another safe place.
Yeah.
So that's why you'll see a lot of people moving to Colorado, a lot of rich people, military, government people, and that's also probably why the Denver airport has that underground entrance, because Colorado actually has a deep underground cavern network as well. So they have those places. I think also my personal belief is that the Big Island of Hawaii will be okay. I think that there's a big enough land and high enough elevation that people can go inwards, go away from the lava zones, get away from the eruption zones. But if you can get to the high ground, you'd have a chance, which is why I believe that the military is on top of Mauna Kea right now, is because it is the most strategic advantage point that you could be at. It's above the clouds. You're not going to get hit by a hurricane. A tsunami's not going to come up there, and then they can just close the roads and lock it off for themselves. It's basically the perfect little castle. But that mountain should be safe, and hopefully everybody will be allowed to get up there. I hope we're still not cut off. Okay.
Well, if you go up there, when you're driving on saddle, I want everybody from now on, start watching everything around you, please. You have these eyes for a reason. Use them. Take notice of everything when you're driving on saddle. Look over to your left when you're heading Kona side. When you're coming from Puna to Kona, look after you pass the military base. Look on your left. You're going to see this open area with a watchtower on one end of it. It's all enclosed. In this wide open area, there's this huge enclosure that has about I'd say a 7 to 8 foot fence around it, with a watchtower on one corner and another watchtower on another, and nobody's in it. It's not a motor pool. It's not even being used.
The thing about it is that they like I said, it's a strategically important position in the Pacific, in the world, actually, in the entire world, and especially the Pacific. It's kind of like whoever's up there is the king of the mountain. You know what I mean? So
and they're doing all kinds of testing.
They have an animals up there that they put up there that they can eat. They have cattle roaming. They have goats. They got
turkeys.
They got turkeys. They got all kinds of birds.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they could live up there indefinitely.
Yeah.
Which actually the telescope scientists actually they do kind of live up there like a firefighter. They live up there because it's so hard to commute. So they've got electricity, they've got gas, they've got provisions, But yeah, like what he said, when you guys are driving down that Daniel Inouye Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look to your left and right. There's a reason why they say no stopping.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they don't want you to stop. Is because that land is where, right outside the boundaries of your site, is where they are conducting a lot of things that they don't want the public to see.
I stop all the time.
Yeah, they don't want that. And if you
As
look
soon
at
as
the
they pull
access,
up, though,
all those access roads, there'll always be a security guard stationed at those access roads to stop you, either just behind the gate, a few yards, or directly in front of it. And they'll be parked there in their trucks. They'll have their hood open, or they'll just be sitting there. So as you drive along that road, look to your left and right, and you'll see pickup trucks just parked all along the entirety of that road, blocking all of those entrances to not let people see what they've got going on out there, because that is the perfect place to hide anything in the world. It really is. It's like you can't get to it. You can put anything out there, nobody would know a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one can see it. You know.
It's also why I feel like the Big Island is probably the safest place in the entire world.
It is. It is. They know, and we know.
Yeah.
So we just gotta share.
Yeah, we just gotta share, and
we gotta share.
That like we started out talking about spirituality. That's why this place is a hub for spiritual people.
Everybody's drawn to this.
Yeah.
Everybody's drawn here. This is a powerful place. Even in ancient times, it was powerful to the Hawaiians. It was powerful to everybody that's ever been here. All the races.
Yeah.
You know, it's impossible to not see the value of it.
I know, man. I feel so blessed and privileged to be here.
Yeah,
I can't even.
That's a great word.
I get emotional just thinking about it because I don't know even how I got here.
Right. Yeah.
It's so weird how it all happened. I have no idea. And then, you know, all the privilege that I get to experience just in my normal everyday life, but then here. Now my daughter is here, and you know the endless possibilities of growing food and sovereignty. So, you know, yeah, this is definitely a place for
people are magnets, and your heart is a magnet, and the land and the earth are every living thing has a magnetics to it. So one of the effects of this solar cycle is that it intensifies. We need the sun.
We do.
The plants need the sun. We need it. We wouldn't be here without it. So the way that the sun gives off an electromagnetic field, and so do humans, onto the tops of our heads and the bottom. We have this, just like a magnet, we have this field that's in tune with the earth, but the earth also has that same field, and it's also connected to the sun as well. So it's this inescapable symbiosis that what happens to those things, what's happening cosmically is happening to us.
Yes.
As above, so below.
That's why I talk about the planets. Jupiter right now is retrograde. Feel your power, people.
Yes, all of these planetary bodies are giving off electromagnetic fields, which is how the universe actually works. Which another thing is which is going to be disclosed soon. Science is going to change because a lot of things that were suppressed, such as the information of Nikola Tesla, he stated that the universe was actually electric. It's electricity. It's an electric universe. That explains a lot, and it's basically how things work. Is everything's vibing on this electromagnetic field connected to it. So even if something you think that's inanimate as a rock or a planet, you know, is actually giving off a magnetic field that connects all of us, which is why we have the iron in our blood. That's why the birds can navigate.
Yeah.
And it is a big symbiosis.
The bees
as well. Yes. They can see and feel the field magnetics. So they're very in touch with the earth. And that's another sign too, is watch the bees. Watch the bees, because if there's no bees, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're screwed. And the bad thing about the chemtrails is that they can kill the bees. And a lot of the bad things about like technology and electromagnetic fields is it also can kill the bees. It can kill anything. That's how the your cell phone technology works. Is it's a very low power grade that's running these things. But if you put a lot of juice into it, it could explode or it could hurt you. So you do this. It's like an electric eel. Your body is water. Water conducts electricity. So when an eel has the ability to push its electricity out of its body to affect you, that is how life works. So you have this electricity inside of you, and they can pump it into you, and so and vice versa. So with a 5G technology, like a 5G antenna, they could pump that just like an electric eel, and they could shock you or stop your heart. Or, you know, I've seen birds fall out of the sky.
Yes.
I've seen cows fall over.
We're experiencing it already.
Yeah, so it's just about how strong the energy is. Same thing with this. That's how the sun works. Right now, we're getting it at a tolerable energy level. But if the sun suddenly bursts with energy, we can't tolerate it.
Right.
So so they are definitely behind the science of that, and they understand that. So that that field magnetics, when the sun excites itself, it also increases all the life forms, and you and me as well, which is going to draw us magnetically stronger to what we were before.
Yeah.
So that's a reason why a lot of people, you know, like, oh, I'm in Hawaii now, and this is happening to me, and I've met this person, and this is going this way, is because everybody on the planet is connected to the sun is going to start being energized to go more deeply into what they're magnetically attracted to.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all.
And we're all coming together too. The people that you're meeting. There we are.
Are we back again?
We are back again.
I'll share all of this. We can make a.
So we'll do a quick summary while people file back into the room.
Yeah, I'm just talking about. I came down to Big Island to just you know, meet some excellent people, which I have. I had a great time, guys. I'm from Oahu. I'm locally born. I really care about people, all people, especially when it has to do with me and my family being affected in islands of Hawaii. So I'm doing this not just for my friends and family, but also for everybody who's watching and everyone's friends and family, because I want you guys to know that, yeah, I did hear a lot of things, I did see a lot of things, and some things are very officially put out there, but I don't want people to fall, like give up their fight because somebody said something's going to happen. I want people to not be afraid, and I want to just reiterate that everybody has the same power, okay? And I hate to be cliche once again, but I need to quote and I need to say that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Okay, you know, this is a spirit. Down to it, it's a spiritual thing. And if you don't believe in the spirit and you're a scientist, then it's an electromagnetic thing. Okay, so no matter what, if you're not, it's a string theory thing. It's a quantum physics thing. If you want to come at it mathematically, okay, so it's a binary thing. It is the same power within all of us, and we may call it different, but you have it in you. Okay, you have a soul, you have energy within you, you have your heart, and that's what I really want to tell people, is that the heart is what's important. The heart is the one thing that connects us all. It is the one thing that connects us to the earth, and people are told that we're just out here and we're not important and we're just fleas on a dog or ants you know, on this planet, and in a cosmic sense, and we're here in the blink of an eye, and we don't matter, and then once you're dead, and that's it. That's what they want us to believe, and that's the exact opposite, because reality wouldn't exist unless we were perceiving it in the first place.
That's right.
Fuck. So we are what's projecting this reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means we can take control of it, but it has been co-opted, and we let that happen. But you have the power. Okay,
the power is inside.
Yeah, there it is. You're never without it. Okay, and the heart Your heart is a magnet. The reason why the planet Earth is called the planet Earth is because the word heart and the word earth are the same word. Okay, it's the same letters. It's just rearranged because the way it is set up is that we are on this planet, and the planet Earth represents the heart. We are connected magnetically in symbiosis to this planet through the heart. The Earth represents our heart. What happens to one happens to the other. So if you want to heal the Earth, you have to heal your heart. If your hearts are dying inside, so will the Earth. If you heal the Earth, our hearts will be healed. If you kill the Earth, it will break our hearts. What happens to one happens to the other. This is inescapable, and people need to understand you are not just a dead thing on this planet that's just here to be somebody's robot. You are the planet. The planet is us. It is inescapable, and you have the destiny to make this a healthy planet or not. It does go through cycles, and so do we. Okay, and that is the key to all of this, and unlocking the power is understanding the heart. They have us in a cycle of the heart, and it is a power structure of 3, and it is birth, heartbreak, death, and then once again rebirth. This is the cycle of the human heart that is in all of us, and this is what's binding us, and it is inescapable. So you are born with your heart, and you have an age of innocence where you're a child and you're pure and you're pure-hearted and you feel nothing but love for everyone around you. Then you go through a stage of heartbreak where you have maybe someone lied to you or hurt you for the first time, or you found out that something horrible happened and your heart was broken. Okay, after that becomes death of the heart. Okay, where the heart then dies and then is reborn again, and that is called rebirth. And then you are a new person. You learned your lesson. You become anew. You grow into a new person. You evolve. You change spiritually, mentally, physically. That is what the sun is happening. The sun is also going through the cycle of the heart, where it dies and it rebirths. Comes alive again. The earth as well, because the earth is attached to our heart. The earth is strong. It becomes heartbroken. It dies and it's reborn again. And we can take control of this cycle along each stage of it, and not to fear it, because after death comes rebirth. Don't fear this cycle, but own it. Own this cycle. So when you see something happening in the news, when you see that your favorite movie star was a pedophile, or that was doing satanic rituals, or you see that your famous musician was cheating on their spouse, or whatever it was, that's the heartbreak. Okay, that is what's happening, is the heartbreak stage. Oh my gosh, Michael Jackson, I loved him. It's so heartbreaking to see what people are saying. It's so heartbreaking to see what R. Kelly is saying. It's so heartbreaking to see what Bill Cosby did, because those people that are in control of us are controlling our hearts to do that, because they selected these celebrities, and these people built them up to be so that we love them, so that we love the movie stars. We become enamored with our musicians, and we just don't want to believe it. That's the point. So Bill Cosby is America's father, and they set him up, so 30 years later you're heartbroken. And so I want everybody to get ready, to just get ready. Be ready for the heartbreak stage, and you're going to go through it in your life. You can't avoid it. It may be a personal matter, it may be a family matter, but in some way your heart might break. And I don't want to say it will break, but it will break. And you need to be strong through that, because that is the cycle of the heart. Only after that you can come back stronger and rebirth. Okay?
That's right.
So what stresses us is what changes us better. All evolution, I'm quoting once again, but all evolution comes through stress. Okay? And
what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
Correct. You know, yeah. And we are the creators. Okay? So we are creating this. So we can create a beautiful place, a place of equality, a place of love, a place without money, a place where everything's free, grow our own food, live without somebody hurting us or controlling our opinions, or feeding us misinformation purposefully. We can go in through the heart, through meditation, eating healthy. You are water. Drink clean water. Be careful; it doesn't have heavy metals in it. Water is alive. Water is life. You are water. The plants are fed from the water from the earth. You eat the plants, the rain comes down and grows the plants. It's a whole cycle of water into our bodies. You are what you eat. It's the way we are connected. That's why when you put a tea leaf in water, it affects the entire composition of the water. The water will take on whatever you put into it. So be careful what you put into your body. Sit silent for a few days. Try to get away from electronics. Don't stare at your phone. Meditate. And I want everybody to go into their heart. When you do this, when you think of things, go into the heart. The answer is not outside. The answer is inside.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're looking for help, if you're looking for answers, if you're seeking it, you are lost. Go inward. Go into everything that you need. I will say this one more time. The power is always inside you. You are never without it. Some people pray. Some people call it God. Some people, have their feelings of love or for their family members or their children. But you can feel your heart. You don't need a body to have a heart. You don't need to feel your body to have a heart. You could be missing an arm, a leg. You could be blind, and you know that you can feel your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that everything, the censorship and all that stuff happened. I'm kind of glad it all worked out the way that it did, because now we've just did a little quick composite, a little quick 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what I want to share.
Yes, this is what I want to share too. Yes,
yeah.
Me too. Yeah. I know I put the news out there, but the reason why is because you guys are going to hear that news too, and they're going to put that news out there anyway. So I'm telling you that yes, this is what they're saying, but don't fall too hard for somebody else's narrative.
Right.
Find it within yourself. Even me, even if you have disagreement with anything that I'm saying, find your truth. You can read things, try things. I made my suggestions, see if it works for you. Everybody's built a little differently, but we all have hearts. So I just want to really stress that think from the heart, feel from the heart. Try to do that. That's my recommendation for everybody. If we can all consciously do that into what we want, then we can have a good future while we exist, while we're in this matrix. We can kind of hack the game. We can take mold of it for once and
have fun.
Yes, have fun while we're here. And then when we've passed the game, we don't have to come back if we don't want to.
Right.
We can exist at it as infinity afterwards, which is what we are, is infinity. So I want everybody to remember that. Okay, whatever your belief system is. There is a such thing as infinity, and if anybody out there can wrap your mind around that, it's a real thing. Infinity is real, and we can be. I want to tell people, from my opinion, that we can be infinity if we learn how to shut this out and take control.
So what's your website? Where can everybody go to see more of your stuff?
Yeah, I'm an artist, so I'm gonna put more of my more of this info as much as I can out there. But I have a website. It's www.iandog.com. I have my social media, but you can go to my YouTube channel. I just hit 1 million views, which is amazing for the things I talk about. And I didn't pay. I didn't pay for anything. I never promoted. I never paid. So guys can get out there. So my YouTube channel is Jinlaihook, JINLAIHOOK. I have more information. And I really appreciate everybody. Anybody who ever watches this, thank you so much.
No, thank you, brother.
Everybody, the world. And
yeah, we'll put all the links to his stuff in the comments on each one of the
yeah.
We had 3 parts to this podcast.
Do you mind if I post it as well?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I'll download the compilation. And is it okay if I do that?
Let's do that, actually.
I'll put that on my channel. I'll put it on my YouTube.
There we go.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
And I'll do it on my YouTube channel too. And I really don't spend much time on my YouTube because I haven't had an ability to spend much time
I have
with
a
it.
little bit of audience there, so
yeah,
it might get out to more people.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If I invest a little more time into the YouTube world, it might happen.
It might help. You just gotta watch out because YouTube is a monitoring. It's them. So
it's Google.
Be careful. Yeah.
that was our last podcast.
Yeah.
Where we talked about Google and what they own.
That is, it is them. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Boy, they really got a stronghold on the information, don't they?
They do. So we got to keep trying. Think with the
Yeah.
heart. Meditate.
Yes.
You know.
Together,
Yep.
we can do this.
We can.
Thanks for tuning in,
Oh,
everyone.
That's right. Together. That's right. Because no one is free till we're all free. Okay. I want you guys to remember that. Nobody's free till we're all free.
That's right.
Nobody's free till
What
we're
a
all
way to
free.
end the podcast, dude.
Yeah.
Nobody's free till we're all free.
Nobody's
Remember
free till
that.
we're all free. Did that get